Arman Khan sat alone in his big office, staring out the window. His company, Khan Tech, was once a leader in its field. But now, the numbers told a different story. Sales were falling month after month. Customers were unhappy. The staff seemed tired and distracted. He had heard whispers, complaints about workers who didn't care, managers who ignored problems, and employees who took shortcuts. But Arman never believed the rumors. He thought his company was strong because of the people he trusted. Today, he felt something change inside him. The trust was breaking. Arman rubbed his tired eyes and leaned back in his chair. What was happening? How did his company fall so far? He needed answers, but no report or meeting could show the real truth. He needed to see for himself. That evening, Arman made a surprising decision. He would go undercover. He would leave behind his CEO title, his expensive suits, and his office with the best view in the city. For a while, he would be a janitor, a silent observer, someone who worked quietly behind the scenes. His heart beat fast. It was risky, but he knew it was the only way. If he could walk the halls as an ordinary worker, he might see what really happened when the CEO was not around. The next morning, Arman woke up early. He put on a simple uniform, a blue janitor's shirt and old shoes that felt strange on his feet. His usual sharp look was gone. Now he looked like anyone else working in the building. He looked in the mirror. Could the employees recognize him? Would they laugh at the janitor, who was actually their boss? He smiled nervously, but pushed his doubts aside. At the company entrance, the security guard barely glanced at him. Arman nodded and walked inside. The clean, shiny floors were different when you were the one holding the mop and bucket. Arman's first task was simple: clean the lobby and empty the trash bins. But as he moved through the halls, he started to notice small things he had never seen before. In the break room, some employees sat quietly, looking tired. One woman stared at her phone, looking upset. Another man was laughing loudly with friends, but Arman saw a coldness in his eyes. He saw a manager yell at a young employee over a small mistake. The employee looked scared, but said nothing. Arman's heart tightened. He wanted to stop everything and call a meeting, but instead, he cleaned in silence, watching and listening. In the morning meeting room, Arman overheard workers complaining about bad leadership and unclear instructions. They said they felt ignored, as if the bosses didn't care about their problems. One worker whispered, "It's like they only want numbers, not people." Arman's mind raced. He thought he knew his employees, but this was a world he had never entered before, a world where people felt invisible. During his lunch break, Arman sat alone on a bench outside. The sun was warm, but his heart felt cold. A young worker named Jamal passed by, carrying a heavy box. He looked exhausted, but forced a smile. Arman called out, "Hey, Jamal, need some help?" Jamal looked surprised but nodded. Arman helped him carry the box to a room. Jamal said, "Thanks, sir. It's hard sometimes. Managers just push us too much." Arman listened carefully. He wanted to ask more, but didn't want to reveal himself. He realized his job as a janitor gave him a new view, a chance to see the company's true heart, and the truth was not easy to accept. That afternoon, Arman cleaned the hallways near the executive offices. He heard whispered conversations about cutting corners and hiding problems. One employee complained, "If the CEO knew, he'd be mad," but no one tells him. Arman's hands trembled. The company he built was breaking from inside. As the day ended, Arman pushed his mop slowly down the empty corridor. He felt tired in a way he never had before, not just from work, but from sadness. He knew the next days would be harder. There were secrets he needed to uncover and changes he would have to make. But for now, as he locked the cleaning closet and took off his janitor's uniform, Arman felt a small spark of hope. He had started a journey to save his company, and maybe even himself. Arman woke up early the next morning, still wearing the janitor's uniform. He felt strange. The uniform was loose and plain, nothing like his usual sharp suit. But he was determined. Today, he would learn more about his company from the ground. When he arrived at the office, the building was already busy. Workers hurried inside, chatting and getting ready for the day. Arman took a deep breath and began his work. He pushed his mop through the hallways, watching people as they passed by. Some greeted him politely. Others ignored him completely. He felt invisible, like no one really saw the man inside the uniform. Arman listened carefully to conversations. He heard laughter, but also frustration. He heard people complain about long hours and unfair treatment. In the break room, he saw a group of employees sitting together. One of them was Sarah, a young woman who always smiled but looked tired. Arman wanted to know her story. He decided to introduce himself quietly. "Hi, I'm new here," he said softly. Sarah looked up, surprised. "Oh, hello, I'm Sarah. You're the new janitor." "Yes," Arman smiled. "It's my first day." Sarah nodded. "If you need help, just ask. It can be a tough place sometimes." Arman felt a little warmth in her kindness. He wanted to learn more about the people who worked in his company. As the day went on, Arman noticed different behaviors. Some workers were friendly and kind. They helped each other with tasks and shared jokes. But others were rude or careless. A man near the elevator ignored his duties and played games on his phone. A woman at her desk looked angry and spoke harshly to her team. Arman felt confused. Why did some employees care and others did not? What was causing this divide? During his cleaning rounds, Arman saw a manager yelling loudly at a young employee named David. The manager's voice was harsh. "Why did you make this mistake? You should know better," the manager shouted. David looked down, afraid. He said nothing and hurried away. Arman's heart hurt. He wanted to step in and stop the yelling, but he had to stay hidden. Later, Sarah found him near the supply closet. "Are you okay?" she asked gently. Arman nodded. "I'm just surprised. I didn't know things were like this." Sarah sighed. "It's hard for us. We work hard, but sometimes it feels like no one cares. The managers only want results, not people." Arman realized how far things had gone wrong. As the afternoon sun shone through the windows, Arman heard whispers about changes coming to the company. Some workers were worried about losing their jobs. He cleaned a quiet corner near the CEO's office and heard two employees talking. "They say there might be layoffs soon," one said nervously. "Yeah, and no one knows who will go," the other replied. Arman's mind raced. If people were scared, how could they do their best work? He felt responsible for their fears. Before leaving for the day, Arman helped Jamal carry some boxes again. Jamal smiled and said, "Thanks, sir. You're different from the others." Arman smiled back, feeling a little hope. That night, Arman sat alone at home, thinking about the day. He had seen kindness and cruelty, hope and fear. He knew his company was broken, but he also saw people who cared deeply. Tomorrow, he would return as the janitor again. There were more secrets to find, more stories to hear. Arman whispered to himself, "I will fix this. I have to." The next morning, Arman put on the janitor's uniform again. He felt more confident, but also more curious. He wanted to understand why some employees seemed happy while others looked worried or angry. As he swept the floors near the offices, he overheard a strange conversation. Two employees were whispering in a quiet corner. "I heard the manager is hiding something," said one man nervously. "This talk about stealing company money." Arman stopped for a moment. Could it be true? Was someone inside his company doing something wrong? He decided to watch closely. As a janitor, no one suspected him, so he could see things others might miss. Walking past the break room, Arman saw Sarah again. She looked tired, but smiled when she saw him. "Anything new today?" she asked softly. Arman shook his head, just trying to understand everything. Sarah sighed. "I wish things were better here. Some people are scared to speak up." Later, Arman found an empty office and peeked inside. On the desk, he noticed papers with numbers and reports. Some numbers didn't add up. He carefully took a photo on his phone. If there was fraud, he needed proof. While cleaning the hallways, Arman noticed David, the young employee who was yelled at yesterday. David looked lost and alone. Arman quietly said, "Keep your head up. Things will get better." David gave a small smile, but said nothing. As Arman continued, he heard loud voices near the conference room. Peeking inside, he saw a heated argument between two managers. "This company is falling apart," one manager said angrily. "We need to cut costs, no matter what." The other manager frowned. "But what about the workers? They are already unhappy." Arman realized the problem was bigger than he thought. The bosses were fighting about money, while the employees suffered. Suddenly, Arman's phone buzzed. It was a message from his assistant at headquarters. "Urgent. Come back soon. We found strange bank transfers." Arman's heart pounded. The secret was deeper than just unhappy workers. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and returned to his janitor work. He had to keep calm and find the full truth. That evening, Arman sat alone in his small apartment. He looked at the photo of the strange reports and the messages on his phone. He knew tomorrow would be harder, but he was ready. He whispered, "I will find out what's really going on." The next day, Arman returned to work as a janitor. He felt the weight of the secret he was chasing. The strange bank transfers and the hidden numbers in the reports made him worry. Arman decided to sneak into the finance office during his cleaning rounds. The door was slightly open. Inside, he saw a computer left on, showing a screen full of numbers and files. He quickly sat at the desk and opened the files. His eyes grew wide. The company's money was being moved to secret accounts. Someone was stealing from the business. Suddenly, footsteps approached. Arman froze and hid behind a large cabinet. The door opened, and a man he recognized walked in. It was Marcus, one of the senior managers. Marcus looked around carefully and sat down at the computer. Arman held his breath. Marcus typed quickly, sending more money to the secret accounts. He smiled, thinking no one knew. When Marcus left the office, Arman slipped out and locked the door behind him. His heart was pounding. He had proof now, but what should he do next? Arman returned to the break room, where Sarah was having lunch. "I found something," Arman whispered. "Someone is stealing money from the company." Sarah's eyes widened. "That explains a lot. No wonder the workers are scared." Arman nodded. "I have to tell someone I trust." Sarah looked around nervously. "Be careful. People like Marcus don't want to be caught." Arman promised to be careful. He knew this was bigger than just employee problems. The future of his company was at risk. That night, Arman sent the photo of the secret accounts to his most trusted friend outside the company. He hoped for help, but felt alone in the fight. Arman sat quietly, thinking, "I must fix this. For the workers. For the company." The next morning, Arman arrived early at the company, still wearing his janitor uniform. He felt ready to face whatever came next. He knew Marcus was dangerous, but Arman couldn't let the thief ruin everything he had built. As Arman cleaned near the manager's offices, Marcus suddenly appeared. He looked sharp and cold. "Janitor, I need to speak with you," Marcus said, his voice low. Arman's heart raced, but he stayed calm. "Yes, sir." Marcus led him into a small meeting room. "I know you're not just a janitor," he said with a cruel smile. "Who are you really?" Arman looked Marcus straight in the eye. "I'm the CEO." Marcus's face went pale. "You're lying." Arman pulled out his ID and showed it. "I'm here to stop you." Marcus sneered. "You think you can stop me? You're just one man." Arman didn't back down. "I have proof of your theft. The police are on their way." At that moment, security guards entered the room. They had received Arman's call earlier. Marcus tried to run but was caught quickly. Arman felt relief, but also sadness. The betrayal from someone inside was painful. Later, Arman addressed the employees. He promised to fix the company and build trust again. Sarah smiled and said, "You saved us all." Arman nodded. "Together, we will make this company better." Weeks had passed since Marcus was caught. The company was slowly healing. Arman worked hard every day, not just as the CEO, but also alongside his employees. He kept his janitor uniform in a drawer, a reminder of how important it was to understand every part of his company. Employees felt hopeful again. They saw Arman wasn't just a boss, but someone who cared. One afternoon, Sarah came to Arman with a small gift, a thank you card signed by many workers. Arman smiled warmly and said, "This means more than you know." He gathered the team for a meeting. "We faced hard times," Armin said, "but now we are stronger. We will work as one family." The workers cheered. For the first time in months, the office was full of laughter and energy. Armin thought about his undercover journey. It had been hard and lonely, but it taught him something important. Real leadership is about listening and caring. As the sun set, Armin looked out of his office window. He felt proud. His company was not just a business anymore. It was a place where people mattered, and that was the true success.